Let's begin by inviting Dr. Irfan Hyder, Rector IoBM, for the welcome speech.
My fellow technologists, time passes so quickly. It is the 7th Pakistan CIO Summit, and I'm trying to reflect on the day first time Kamran Saab came and discussed about the idea I believe 6 years ago. And I think the interest that I can see over here, all of you seated at 9:30, is a great testimony of the success of this enterprise. Digital transformation and how do we stay ahead? First of all, there is always an attention of the CIO that needs to deliver that functionality yesterday and is a day late. And then that needs to be done in the context of the emerging competition from God knows where. The mobile company may be coming in, disrupting the bank, or maybe the car company may come and destroy your pharmaceutical base. One doesn't know. And fortunately or unfortunately, the CIO has a responsibility of staying ahead of the pack. It makes a great difference. When did you start the exploration and thinking about a particular issue before that issue comes full blown and trying to dismantle the entire currently entrenched hierarchy in your organization? And our experience shows that when the change sweeps, the CIO gets swept along with the existing hierarchy. If the CIO has not been perceived and has not been proactive and has not been, using the phrase, staying ahead. Now, when we are talking about digital transformation, we are not just talking about automation. Please remember that. This is a transformation that is sweeping across all disciplines. Do you know who does most philosophy today? It is Google and Facebook and their graph systems and their way of organizing information, which is representation of the heavy words like ontology and epistemology. What we know. So, philosophy and IT. Psychology and IT. The marketing and the brand perceptions can no longer happen without this intervention. Sociology and the word of mouth, electronic word of mouth, traveling and impacting your consumer. So these two were some other fields. Sociology was something else and technology was something else. No more. It's there all together, coming in one seamless integration. And I can tell you about each and every field that is being impacted and transformed along with the transformation of an IT. So it's a Hydra head challenge that a CIO is facing and doing a catch-up. And of course, with the pressure that you have to deliver, you had to deliver that functionality yesterday and you are already so many days or so many weeks or so many years behind the schedule. And you have to do it with the existing structure, with the existing resources, with the existing people, and somehow make the new technology, which is still in an infancy stage, which is still being done, which is still being rolled out in a beta stage, using yourself as the whatever you can call guinea pigs, I think, or whatever. So that's what we are. So whatever Facebook does, there was a huge stall, so they were changing, and who were testing? We all were testing this, and this is happening everywhere. The speed of delivery is so quick, the expectations is so fast that you have to roll out. The traditional models of testing, deployment and whatnot no longer work the way they used to work. So the digital transformation requires that you need to be looking out of the fields that are not directly IT. That's my important message. Because the challenge is going to come from those other fields, because that's the niche that some IT or some digital intervention is going to exploit and coming out to threaten the existence of the organization that you are working in. And that's one of the big problems. Today, I saw over here the mention of cyber security. Yes, it's an important issue. But there is also a very important issue. You may call it security of a type, but that's privacy. And it is this privacy which is attacking the big players like Facebook and Google's and the others. And they are suffering of what they did with the democratic values of USA, and how did they manipulate, and whether they knew it or they did not understand. So the success of a particular IT technology also comes with a cost. And that cost is understanding the broader dimensions of the linkage of this digital transformation with the society. And if you really want to stay ahead, watch out for the big problems of the world. What are these big problems? It is environmental sustainability. How the current businesses are impacting the environment and what kinds of changes are going to happen. Supposing, and I think some European countries have already banned the plastic bottles or single-use plastics. How is that going to disrupt the existing supply chains and make the company reorient itself in the new mode? This is just another example of the environmental costs determining the future. So, and similarly, the environment-related technologies in water, in power, the green technologies and others are impacting the way we have been conducting the business. The other area, so the privacy becomes to the fore, and the technology, these environmental sustainability, and the third major area is the social sustainability, the networks. And we just saw the impact of an ad, and how can that happen and gel or not gel with the social aspirations of a particular community, and it can backfire. Now those are some other areas, and of course you can't just say that that's the domain of the marketing people or the advertising people, but somehow, somewhere that word is traveling through the mediums that you are responsible for managing and monitoring and organizing and tracking and whatnot, because eventually you need to be tracking all of those things. And the company should have been aware of the social repercussions of a message that is going to travel through the media and going to get viral and can destroy the whole ecosystem. So we just saw what happened to Boeing, a company which has been around for a century, leader. Just two incidents connected together with the same trajectory of the failure of the aircraft, and there goes the banning of all the airspaces of Boeing everywhere. And what's the glitch? It's a simple AI glitch of the AI system taking control of the plane and not letting the pilot overrule it. And the whole company is, and we are talking about Boeing, you see. Boeing is something that USA, and even USA and Trump cannot defend this challenge. So that's the type of a challenge. Just an incident happening few months ago and an incident happening few months later, connecting the dots, and here is a classic, perfect storm that company has to manage. So if you really want to remain ahead, these are the types of repercussions that you need to be aware of. And the type of the things that need to be done to, and this especially is the rollout problem. I just mentioned about the challenge of deploying a system without adequate testing. But the speed of change and the competitive pressure is so fast that you cannot delay the things. But how do you do it online, and how this thing gets resolved? That's in the case of Boeing will be $1 billion question, not $1 million question. It's $1 billion. It's a reason of its existence that's being threatened by a small glitch, and most probably it will be a couple of statements out there in the code hidden somewhere, and that's about it. Of course, this is just the opening remarks. I think there are going to be much better speakers than me to highlight many of these issues. But my message, and from the CIO platform to all of you, is to not ignore. While we know the pressures of the deployments today, we should not lose sight of the broader connectivities of the technology and its use in various areas like marketing and supply chain, in the operations in the case of Boeing, and in the case of Facebook, the privacy issues and the political issues that can be generated. So while Facebook was minting money, selling its ads like anything to anyone, and not understanding the implications of what may happen if the elections of a country like USA get hijacked. And we can very well see some similar things happening over here also if such things are allowed. Unfortunately, we do not have a Pakistani company doing it, but the others can be manipulating. And this manipulation can work in several other ways, which is directly related to the cyber security. So while we are putting all eggs in our one basket abroad and in those tools may themselves be Trojans. Those tools that we are buying indiscriminately may be Trojans which have been designed to stall your system. So those in the financial sector, those in the key sectors of the economy must remember the global imperatives of the conflicts that are happening. So on one hand, we have globalization, which is forcing all the countries to globalize and extend and reach out. It is actually, this globalization is actually being disrupted by the forces of nationalism characterized by the clash of civilizations and religion and others. And these two other, these conflicts of this approach have repercussions for the future of a country, future of your business. And we just saw how Huawei's CEO was actually hauled up in US, I think Canada, It was Canada or somewhere in the north. You see, for something that was out of the hand, it's just the perception, it's just the perception, and it can lead to those things. So those are the type of things I would like you to keep in mind while you are here with this galaxy of speakers and panelists, talking about various, I'm sure, detailed issues. But as a professor, as a rector of an educational institutions, we really want to remain ahead of the pack. Thank you very much.